Welcome back, you all, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be taking a better look into one of my personal favorite brands on the market today, Mr. Hobby's line of products. Primarily, Mr.Base White 1000. Now, Mr.Base does come in a few options as far as colors go, including black and gray for lighter colored models, and a Mr. Metal, which leaves a beautiful sheen that will help your metal paints look even more vibrant. Also does come in a flat or gloss. We're using flat here today. Now, not to be confused with Mr.Surfacer, which fills in small scratches and is used as a primer. Mr.Base is a base coating used primarily for darker plastic kits when applying brighter paints such as reds or yellows or even clear coats. In this case, our current kit requires lighter reds and yellows, hence why we're working with the Mr.Base White. And of course, if you're wondering if Mr. Hobby does come in airbrush varieties, it does. I chose to work with the Mr.Base can because of its coverage, ease of use, and cleanup. Which option you choose will have to be based off your projects and needs, but both the Mr.Base options are equally effective and of course cost friendly, averaging about $5 to $10 per can or jar. So let's get into these models and get them ready to be coated. I'm going to be using my aging alligator clips to mount some of these loose parts. As you can tell, there are some bay doors and some rocket boosters or missiles that have to be left apart from the base kits to paint. And now on with the show. So here we are in my tiny paint station, aka the kitchen. As you can see, it's being powered by a decent window fan. The tape at the back of the box is slit so the paint vapors can leak out into the exhaust fan. Also, I have my black gloves on to protect my fingers, and of course my painter's mask, because these fumes are definitely potent. Now, just like any other aerosol can, you want to start at least 7 to 10 inches away and start from one side spraying to the other, stopping occasionally and pulling back so you can check your work. Now, at first glance, your models will look drenched, as if there's pools of paint everywhere all over your surface. However, do not panic, as Mr.Base dries on brilliantly without covering any small details or welding beads that your kit may have. Now, the plan here is to cover each of these 3 models with one thin coat and then sand down any imperfections I may find. We're going to pull off some of the gun turrets off each of these ships and repeat. As you can see, the Mr.Base dried perfectly. The paint doesn't seem to be clumped or bubbled. There was a piece of my hair that got stuck at the end of the fuselage here on the cruiser, which we'll be taking care of later with an 800 and 1000 grit sanding paper. Now, first, let's pull off these gun turrets and expose some of the original colored plastic. Then we'll work on sanding out that imperfection on the cruiser. Always check your previous work, as mentioned before moving on to your next step, of course. When using base paints, unlike Mr.Surfacer, any imperfections that are not addressed immediately will show off on the final coating, meaning that if you want to take your time, it'll pay off. And of course, recoat your kits as needed. You do not want any scratches or to sand too deep. Scratches and dents will show with Mr. Base when painted over with another color. Mr.Surfacer, on the other hand, would be needed in this scenario if you sand too deep or if you find scratches in your kit in order to fill some of those scratches or to even out the surface before moving on to coloring. And voila, there you have it. A perfectly primed and ready to paint United Nations Cosmos Navy fleet. Hope you liked this video, and if you have any suggestions or any other ways you use Mr. Base, please drop them in the comments. Always happy to take on suggestions and learn how the community uses these products. Hope to see you all soon.